As per usual, for context, SCP Foundation is a fictitious website where fans of sci-fi and other horror genres write down stories of their own fictitious monsters, but from the perspective of scientists who've caught and captured them. Now, whenever these scientists capture one of these monsters, they give them a number and a safety rating. The safety rating usually determines how dangerous they are, but in this case, we're dealing with one of the safe monsters. In fact, it's not even called a monster at all unless you go by its nickname, the Tickle Monster. Literal Tickle Monster. I personally call it the living serotonin because this thing will give therapeutic puppies a run for their money. Its name is SCP-999. And to give you some perspective on how non-threatening this thing is, not only is it given the object class safe, which is obviously the least dangerous rating on the danger chart, but listen to the special containment procedures. It'll actually explain why they even want to contain this creature. It says special containment procedures for SCP-999. Well, SCP-999 is allowed to freely roam the facility, should it desire to, but otherwise must stay in its pen either between 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. for sleeping, oof, poor little guy has a curfew, or during emergency lockdowns for its own safety. For the record, this foundation is also trying to destroy some of these monsters. The fact that they care about this thing's safety also speaks volumes. And why wouldn't they? Keep listening. Subject is not allowed out of its pen at night or off facility grounds at any time. Pen is to be kept clean and food replaced twice daily. All personnel are allowed inside SCP-999's holding area. I repeat, they are allowed. All personnel. But only if they are not assigned to other tasks at the time, or if they are on break. Subject is to be played with when bored and spoken to in a calm, non-threatening tone. I love this. The living serotonin only gets better. Its description: SCP-999 appears to be a large, amorphous gelatinous mass of translucent orange slime, weighing about 54 kilograms or 120 pounds, with a consistency similar to that of peanut butter. You watch its second form is when it turns into Nutella. Oof. Subject's size and shape is easily malleable and can change shape at will. Though when at rest, SCP-999 becomes a rounded, oblate dome roughly 2 meters wide and 1 meter in height. The surface of SCP-999 consists of a thin, transparent membrane similar to that of an animal shell, roughly 0.5 centimeters thick, and is highly elastic, allowing SCP-999 to flatten portions of its body up to 2 centimeters thin. The surface is also hydrophobic, although SCP-999 can willfully absorb liquids. See Addendum SCP-999-A. Yeah, there are addendums at the end of each one of these articles. Trust me, these addendums only make it better. They list interactions between people and the subject. And as if this thing wasn't already living serotonin, the stories that this thing has are perfect. Back to topic. The rest of SCP-999's body is filled with a viscous orange substance of unknown chemical makeup, though it's capable of digesting organic material with ease. Subject's temperament is best described as playful and dog-like. See what I mean by the therapeutic puppy comment? Anyway, when approached, SCP-999 will often react with overwhelming elation, slithering over to the nearest person, leaping upon them, hugging them with a pair of pseudopods, while nuzzling the person's face with a third pseudopod, all the while emitting high-pitched gurgling and cooing noises, kind of like a cat's purr or maybe even a puppy's whinny of excitement. The surface of SCP-999 emits a pleasing odor that differs with whomever it is interacting with. Recorded scents include chocolate for some, fresh laundry, bacon, roses, and Play-Doh. I think for me this thing would emit vanilla extract. Maybe a mint, like a spearmint flavor. Oh, relaxing. Anyway, on to the best part. Simply touching SCP-999's surface causes an immediate mild euphoria, which intensifies the longer one is exposed to SCP-999, and lasts longer after separation from the creature. The subject SCP-999's favorite activity is tickle wrestling. This is where the Tickle Monster part comes in. Often by completely enveloping a person from the neck down and tickling them until asked to stop. Though it does not always immediately comply with this request. This little brat. Though injuries may occur, SCP-999 has never been found to purposefully attempt to harm others, and will immediately back away and contract its body into a quivering mound while gurgling in a manner similar to a whimpering dog, seemingly apologizing for hurting someone on accident. For all you dog owners right now, think of when your dog messed up and they just give you those big puppy eyes and says, almost like they're trying to say, I'm sorry. Tell me you can't be mad at those big eyes. You're still mad, but you just can't hate the little guy. Same basic concept here. And I know I keep saying it gets better. Well, guess what? It does get better. Here's the purest part about this perfect little blob of joy. While the creature will interact with anyone, it seems to have a special interest in those who are unhappy or hurt in any way. Persons suffering from crippling depression or PTSD, for example, have reported having a far more positive outlook on life after multiple interactions with SCP-999. This is why they want to contain the little guy. It's because the possibility of manufacturing antidepressants from SCP-999 slime is currently being discussed. I kid you not, this is why they contain this little guy. They want to see if they can replicate him. In addition to its playful behavior, SCP-999 seems to love all animals, especially humans, refusing to eat any meat and even risking its own life to save others. On one occasion, leaping in front of a person to take a bullet fired at them. Subject's intellect is still up for debate, though its behavior is infantile at best. It seems to understand human speech and most modern technology, including guns apparently. SCP-999's diet consists entirely of candy and sweets, with M&Ms and Necco wafers being its favorites. Its eating methods are similar to those in an amoeba, where it just absorbs whatever it's eating and then dissolves it within its slime self. Now here's that addendum to SCP-999-A they referenced earlier. It's a dialogue between a staff member. It says, "Reminder to all staff, SCP-999 is not to consume caffeinated soft drinks of any kind." Last week someone gave SCP-999 a can of cola along with its usual breakfast. Not only was it literally bouncing off the walls for half an hour, the carbonation make SCP-999 visibly queasy afterwards. Poor little guy. And it refused to move or eat for the rest of the day. Oh no. SCP-999 has thankfully recovered since, but the staff member in question has been reprimanded. If somebody has animation skills out there, we have got to get this serotonin on video. And we also get an addendum SCP-999-B, the second interaction. The following is a report from an experiment in which SCP-682, good gosh, that giant devil lizard from the week previous, or week or two previous that I mentioned, SCP-682 is exposed to SCP-999 in the hopes that it will curb the creature's omnicidal rage. Anyway, the experience begins with SCP-999 is released into SCP-682's containment area. For those reading for this for the first time, I'd suggest you look at SCP-682's video, but long story short, he's a homicidal lizard that hates everything, in contrast to SCP-999, the Casper the Friendly Ooze who loves everybody. SCP-999 immediately slithers toward SCP-682. SCP-999 makes some elated gurgle noises trying to get 682's attention, to which 682 responds with some unintelligible groans and growling, followed up with, "What is that?" SCP-999 moves in front of 682, jumping up and down in a dog-like manner while calling out in a high-pitched squealing noise. 682 groans again. "Disgusting," it responds. 682 immediately steps on SCP-999, and for that I will never forgive this lizard nor anybody who says he's just evil because people keep tormenting him. You all can just go right back to your abuse. Completely flattening SCP-999. Observers were about to abort the mission when SCP-682 started talking again. It grunts, along with some unintelligible sounds. "What is this? I feel good." SCP-999 can be seen crawling up from between SCP-682's toes, up along its side and around its neck, where it clings on and begins gently nuzzling with its pseudopod. A whole grin slowly spreads across 682's face. 682 deeply chuckles and says, "Feel so happy. Happy. SCP-682 repeats the word happy for several minutes, laughing occasionally before escalating into non-stop laughter. As laughter continues, SCP-682 rolls around on its back, slamming its tail upon the floor with dangerous force, still bellowing with laughter, yelling, "Stop! No tickling! But continues laughing. SCP-682 and SCP-999 continue the tickle fight until SCP-682 finally wears down and appears to fall asleep with what would appear to be a smile on its face. Again, the lizard full of hate never smiles, never says happy, and never says anything contrary to a Disney villain that wants what it wants purely because of hate and spite. Oh my gosh, is this a Disney villain? After 15 minutes with no activity, 2 D-Class personnel enter the room to retrieve SCP-999. When SCP-999 is removed, SCP-682 immediately wakes up and unleashes an unidentifiable wave of energy from its body, all the while laughing maniacally. All persons within the wave's range collapse into crippling fits of laughter, allowing SCP-682 to escape and slaughter all in its path. Again, watch that video from last week. 682 has the capability of replicating other powers that it sees, although to a degree, mainly because its focus is on counteracting powers rather than replicating them. Anyway, meanwhile, SCP-999 quickly rescues as many persons as it can, taking them to a safe place to recover from SCP-682's laughter wave, as they've calling it, while agents suppress and recontain 682. Despite the tragedy that SCP-682 had brought upon the facility, SCP-999 has not shown any fear towards the creature, and in fact has made gestures suggesting it wants to play with SCP-682 again. SCP-682, however, has stated, "That insolent little can and right off and die." Just to give that little spiteful lizard exactly what it wants and spite it again, now I really want to find a way to make SCP-999's effects permanent. Imagine them shooting a dart into that lizard and making it the Joker for the rest of its life. Have fun laughing for eternity, you pathetic, ingrate. And it ends with a memo from Dr. Yep, dang it, that name was expunged too. He says, "While the test was unsuccessful and ended in tragedy, that had to be the funniest thing I have ever seen. I never thought I'd see the day when I would regard SCP-682 as cute. I still don't. Please send me a copy of the security tapes ASAP." And personal note from Icy, please play those tapes in SCP-682's chamber over and over again. As an added security measure, play them in areas where you know he's going to escape from. Lure him back in, because that son of a gun is going to want to destroy those as soon as possible. Ladies and gents, thank you for joining me for another SCP narration. Feel free to subscribe to my Patreon and suggest other narrations. I'll see you next time, and you have yourself a fantastic day, okay? Even if you don't feel like it, you probably deserve it. It's either been a long, hard week, or it's probably the beginning of the week. You may not feel like you're ready for what's up ahead, but trust me, you are. Look at this face. Look at this little blob of a face. This face says that you got it. So again, you have yourself a fantastic day. Thank you for listening.